There used to be a tree in my backyard. It was a huge oak tree. It was probably, several feet in diameter. It had withstood storms of all kinds for many decades. After we moved into our home, storms would blow through, and that oak tree stood mighty and tall in our backyard. Well, one day, a few years ago, we were sitting in our living room as a thunderstorm was blowing through. And all of a sudden, from our living room, we heard two noises. First, we heard this loud splintering sound, and then we heard a very loud thud. So I rushed to the back of the house, turned on the outside lights, peered out the window, and sure enough, that mighty oak tree had fallen across my backyard. So the next day, when the sun came up, it was dried out a bit, I went out into the backyard to assess the damage. And when I approached the tree, I saw something I had never seen before, haven't seen since. I'm accustomed to seeing trees, large trees, fall over where their roots come up out of the ground. They're uprooted from the ground. That's not what happened with this tree. This tree had literally snapped off in the middle of its trunk. The tree was laying across my yard, and where it once stood, now stood about a 10-foot tall, splintered trunk of a tree. Well, that fascinated me. So I walked over to this trunk, and I looked closely, and here's what I found. While that oak tree looked healthy and strong on the outside, inside it was completely rotten. That tree snapped like a twig because it was being destroyed literally from the inside out. Ananias and Sapphira were hypocrites. They wanted to appear one way on the outside, but on the inside they were entirely different. Church, if we're going to change our world, Christians must maintain and guard their integrity.